I'm sure anybody watching this video understands what it's like to feel held back or to feel like you are just carrying too much weight on, like, the weight of the world on your shoulders, you know? But the thing is that you don't want to live your life on pause. And when you feel that way, likely you are living your life on pause. What do I mean by that? I mean to say that the more that you live your life as if you're going to live forever, being unaware of the weight of your existence, the less opportunities you are going to create for yourself to build a better life. In Dante's Inferno, it has the last circle of hell is where the devil is cemented in ice and he can't move. That's very symbolic of what it's like to live your life on pause. When you are living your life on pause, you are openly inviting the devil to live with you and to stay with you and not move anywhere. You're stuck. So what do you do when you're stuck? You've got to do something different. You've got to do something that is more challenging than what you're doing right now. So, for example, you may be in a toxic work environment, or you may be in a toxic relationship of some kind, or you may have to associate yourself with toxic people that you don't really have a choice on being around them if they're like at a family reunion or something like that. You don't have the luxury to not be around these people. Well, the thing is that for me, I would rather be alone than be around these kinds of people. In fact, whenever I'm at the store or something, or whenever I'm at the gym and I know there's a toxic person around, I will purposely not grab that chicken or grab those onions if they're around that section, to just avoid them. And likewise at the gym, if they're next to a machine that I'm going to use, like, I'll just use a different machine. And I'm not saying that you should reorient your life to situate yourselves around the toxic people, but if you have the option to not be around them, like, don't do it. You know, what's going to be better? You and your energy being completely reinstated and secure and fresh with a hint of zest in your life where you feel energetic and joyful? Or is it going to be better to risk having your energy being attacked by toxic individuals that are literally walking red flags? Now, I've noticed that in my healing journey and my healing process, I've noticed that oftentimes in toxic relationships, usually in any kind of relationship, you know, that goes for like work, that goes for significant others, that goes for friends and family as well. Usually mommy issues meets daddy issues, or daddy issues meets mommy issues. Now, what do I mean by that? if you're someone that has a lot of mommy issues, you're likely going to be attracted to women that have daddy issues, and vice versa. If you have daddy issues, you're probably going to be attracted to men that have mommy issues. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this, which I'll get into in a minute, but likewise, in other kinds of relationships with friends or family, if you exist in a family unit that is contrived of and perpetuated in toxicity, likely there's going to be one person within the family unit, usually the mother or the father, that is the narcissistic individual. Until they grow older, of course, then sometimes the children can become the main toxic and the main narcissistic person. But the real perception of truth here comes from being able to distinguish who's who in the family unit or who is in who in your friend group. Now, obviously, there's going to be some people that are more outgoing or more extroverted or more introverted. Some people are going to be, if you're familiar with the MBTI scale, which I would recommend using as a tool to understand your own personality, but I do not think it is a end-all be-all of personality. I think it's a tool, because your personality, generally speaking, is undefinable. You as a person are undefinable. And if you want to be undeniable, then you must remain undefiable. Undefinable, not undefiable. I guess undefiable could be, but more so you want to be undefinable. If you truly want to be in a state of mind where there's a perpetual understanding and a perpetual growth mindset, your personality traits, though they are not necessarily set in stone, you do have general capabilities that you're better at than another. So, for example, part of the MBTI process, there's 8 functions primarily. There's introverted feeling, extroverted feeling, introverted thinking, extroverted thinking, introverted intuition, extroverted intuition, and then introverted perception and extroverted perception. Now, those 8 functions create 16 types of different personality traits, generally speaking. And the person that really came up with this was Carl Jung, and it was perplexed and perpetuated by the Myers-Briggs team, and she further established this. So the personality traits are very useful in determining how to go about your life. But that does not mean that you should always act on and act in the world based off of who your personality trait might or might not be. Because you want to be ever changing. And this was a mistake that I made a few years ago, where I had figured that a personality trait was set for me, and now I've been able to expand on it, particularly my extroverted thinking qualities and my introverted feelings. Those 2 functions of the psyche. So with introverted feeling, because I would be considered as an INFJ, which is introverted intuition, extroverted feeling, introverted thinking, and then extroverted sensing / perception. So the extroverted feeling I've always been very good at. I've always been really good at knowing what other people are thinking, but not really what I was feeling or thinking. So developing that introverted feeling was a very big part of me not letting myself live on pause, because I wanted to avoid my own emotions. I didn't want to make those changes in myself. I didn't want to do the inner work necessarily, because I knew that confronting myself and facing myself would be far more challenging for me than trying to help or save somebody else. And because I like helping people. I'm naturally a compassionate person. I would always grow up not understanding how people don't understand compassion. Like, because most of the people in the world don't understand compassion. But it takes a true grit and true strength to know what compassion really means and how to extend it without forgetting about yourself. And so this is something that I learned that I will only get better with time at. Like, time has gotten me to this point to where even though I know that I'm not perfect inside and I don't have to listen to my emotions all the time that I feel, I know that my intentions are to be a righteous, good man at the end of the day that does the right thing. I don't want to not do the right thing. And I've always tried to live my life to the sense of doing what's right, even if it's terrible. And there were times in my life where I felt like I kept opening my heart and I would just get betrayed or I would just get backstabbed. And so I learned that there's certain ways to still be open-hearted and compassionate while still protecting and reserving your inner world, because you don't want everybody to know your inner world. There's a difference between wearing your heart on your sleeve and letting everybody know exactly what's going on inside you all the time. Remember that narcissists and toxic individuals, especially people with mom or dad issues, this is going to be one of the biggest hurdles of establishing a good relationship, is understanding and getting to a point to where you can trust yourself to not let people take advantage of you. Because if you have mom or dad issues, the likelihood of you seeing the world in a dark way is very high. And the reason that I know this is because of the way that I grew up. And it took a lot of time, effort, energy, and really establishing a relationship to the Most High to where I felt even comfortable enough to let other people in that I knew weren't going to betray my trust. And you get better at this through time. Like, there gets to be a point to where instantly you'll know, okay, yeah, nope, I will not trust that person with my life ever. You can just feel the energy and it's not there. And then there's going to be other times where you might not be able to tell right away, like, okay, this person has these green flags, but I don't know if this is a red flag over here just yet. So I'll play it out. And, in the Bible, it says to test the spirit of people to make sure that they're of God. And, well, how do you do that? How do you test the spirit, and what exactly does that mean? It means that you don't need to believe everything that is in front of you, that you see, hear, smell, or anything like that. Sometimes the devil will want to just play games with you. And this has happened a lot recently in my life, over the past week. There's just like little things that happen where I just know that the devil's trying to play with my mind, because I know my own weakness, and I know that the devil knows my own weakness, but I also know that God knows my own strength. And so my strength is also with God. So how could I possibly fail in these spiritual attacks with the devil if I know I have God on my side? If I know that I'm living my life and making the changes I need to propel myself to get to where I want to be. When you get to the point where you know where you're not where you want to be, but you know it's going to take years to get there, that's good. That's really good, because you know that you're not going to get there tomorrow. You know that you're not going to get there in a week. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. Life is a marathon. Life is not a sprint. There are sprints that add up to the marathon, but life in of itself is a marathon. You have to build endurance. And even in my workouts recently, I've been upping my cardio by probably about 50%. And I have noticed that the more I up my cardio, the more I can access certain parts of my soul and my spirit that I didn't necessarily know that I could access before. Now, I've done this in the past, of course. Like my first time running 9 or 10 miles, like I was a changed man, because I had never done that before. It was really hot. It was like 100 degrees outside last summer, and I had never ran 9, 10 miles before. And when by the time I was done, I was like, wow, like who I am has changed. And that's exactly what happens. Like even playing guitar for me, like I was never really a big music person, but I've always noticed that whenever I complete an act of creation as well, there's always some kind of transformation, inner transformation. And my inner transformation is reflected in my external world, very much so. But it all starts with me whenever I'm doing that. Just like in your life, everything starts with you. If you do not change your inner codes and programming, so to speak, of your psyche, knowing your strengths and weaknesses in your personality, you will not be able to get to where you want to be. And so this is why you never should live your life on pause. Don't do it. Living your life on pause is perhaps the most disrespectful thing that you could do to yourself. And the reason for that is because you're not changing what you know you could change. Because maybe you're not wanting to make those changes. You're being resistant to change, which is, in my last video with emotional weaknesses, that was one of the signs of emotional weaknesses, was being resistant to change. Being resistant to change it's never going to help you. And if you are somebody with your life on pause, know that you can always press play. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you have going on in your life right now. You can press the inner pause button or the inner play button on your life. And at the end of the day, if you know you pressed pause on your life, You have nobody else to blame but yourself. And that is what keeps me going. Knowing that there's nobody else to blame if I don't get to where I want to be but myself if I don't make those changes. So with that being said, peace be with you, and I hope this message was insightful and useful. Please like and subscribe. Comment as well if you found this entertaining or insightful in some way. Peace be with you.